Everybody, welcome back to Kevin's Carvings. We're going to start doing some carving with our hand tools here on the channel. A little bit more. This time we're going to take a 2x2 piece of basswood that I cut on a 45-degree angle, so I ended up with 2 pieces. And we're going to have this flat on the back, and we're going to carve on the corner here. And that way it'll be nice and easy to hang up if we want, or it'll still be able to stand up if I leave the bottom flat. So this right here is a good way to make ornaments and things like that, and it's a great way to practice our faces. So that's what we're going to do in this video, and we're going to try and come up with a decent little wood carving. It does have some bad spots. There's a dark vein running through it here. It might be a hard piece of wood to carve, because when you get this type of stuff on basswood, it does tend to give you a bit of a problem. So we're going to see if we can come up with something, and hopefully it won't be too bad. Okay? So get your hand tools out. I'm going to use my rough out knife here. I have a detail knife, and I have a couple of hand tools. I have my palm set also that we'll be using. All right. So we'll try and do a lot with the knife and see if we can give you guys a little bit more knife work experience on the channel. Okay? All right, here we go. Well, first things first, what I like to do is actually take these sharp corners off. It just makes it a lot easier to hold. All right, so I'm just gonna run my knife down and round those off a little bit, because it's kind of hard to hold. They're a little bit sharp, and it makes it a lot easier to manage when you're holding this piece. And then we're going to have to figure out what kind of face we want to put on it. So we're going to start off like we always do. And we're going to give ourselves a starting point. And let's make this guy a nice long hat. And that way we can shape the hat up and give him a wizard hat or something. We've been doing a lot of wizards lately on both of my channels. But people tend to like the wizards, and it's an easy hat to do. And you can do different things with the hat. But since this is a beginner project and going on the beginner channel, we'll make it a nice, simple, easy one. All right. And all I did was draw a line just like that on both sides, and that's going to be the bottom of the hat. And we're going to take some wood out there by taking our rough out knife, and we're going to cut those lines out. All right, so first what we're going to do is definitely get your carving glove and put that on, because we don't want any boo-boos. All right, and we're going to take our rough out knife, and we're going to run a stop cut. Now, it doesn't matter if you're on the line. All right, I'm going to try and erase the line, so I went a little above it here. And I made a stop cut, and I'm going to cut up to that stop cut and remove that wood, just like that. All right, I'm going to do the same thing on this side. I'm going to try and stay a little above that line, keeping my thumb on the wood, all right, and trying to get it to dig in at the top there. Same on this side. We'll remove that by undercutting. And if it doesn't pop out, I'll just run through that stop cut again, all right? And just clean it up as you go. Now I am going to go over to the other side and make it a little bit deeper. Try to connect those two. And just take some wood out. Like so. Now, if I wasn't holding this far away from me, most of this would just be one cut. And the glove does make it a little hard for me to hold, but I'm trying to keep safety in mind to show you guys. So if I got to make a couple of cuts, that's what I'll do. All right, so that's the first process here. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to come down a little bit. We're going to make a cut right here. This can be personal preference. It doesn't have to be so far down. You can make it down as far as you want, but we're going to make 2 of them. We're going to make this one here, and I'm going to come down below that, and I'm going to make another one here. And this is going to be where we set his nose in. Okay. I do like to use gouges and chisels for this stuff, but since we're making this a beginner project, I want you to get used to your knife, so we're going to use our knife. I'm going to come down just a little bit at a 45-degree angle there. And I'm going to push up and remove that. Just like that, making that little indent there, okay? And you can do that a couple of times if you want to get it a little deeper, all right? Then we're going to do the same thing here. Going to come down, push in with our knife. I keep my thumb on the back of the blade when I do that. It helps me push it in, all right? And just keep repeating that and taking wood out from underneath it. For those that are beginners on this channel, this is called stop cut, and the cut after that is your removal cut, okay? Stop cut, removal cut, and that removes the piece of wood. That stop cut creates a line, so when you push that removal cut up, when you hit that stop cut, your tip will usually fall right out, all right? And now we're starting to form a nose. See that? Okay, moving on. All right, now right here, what I want to do is extend this line just a little bit, and we'll kind of make it go down at an angle like this, following that cut that we put in on the top, because we want a little bit more of a surface there, well, of a stop cut, I should say, to push that wood up when we start forming our nose. So we're just going to take a little bit more out there. Going to stop cut here, all right? Come over to the side and take a little bit more wood out on this side, okay? Just so when we start forming that nose, we have a little bit more of a ridge there to push up into for our removal cut, okay? Now you should start having something that looks like that, all right? Okay, this is where I'd start getting my gouges out. And this right here is a flex cut. It's a number 5, I believe, right? It's not too steep of a sweep. And the sweep would be that U shape, okay? For instance, this right here is a number 8. And the sweep on this is a little bit steeper, all right, than the sweep on this, all right? So the higher the sweep, the number, the higher the U, okay, which is how you would gauge that. All right, and that U shape is going to dictate the shape of the cut that we do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to take that gouge, I'm going to put it right on the side. I'm going to leave a little bit of wood here in the center, right? I'm going to put it right on the side just like that. I'm going to push it in, giving it a turn, okay? Then I'm going to take the same gouge. I'm going to come up underneath and I'm going to clear that wood out. If it doesn't all pop out, you can always recut it just a little bit. Scoop, pop it out. All right, and that'll start shaping one side of his nostril there. All right, let's do the same on this side. I'll come over here on this side. Try and make them about even. I'm going to do it just a little bit there so I can get to see what it looks like. And I'm going to push in, digging it in the corner there pretty good. All right, come over to the side and pop that chip out. And that'll start forming the nostrils on our little face here, okay? So now we have wood cut out here. We have wood cut out here. We can clean that up with our other gouges and our knife. I'm going to take the same tool, flip it upside down. And I'm going to push that wood up, rounding that nose back a little bit. I'm going to turn this over and do the same here. Just going to round it just a little bit down, so it's not so square on the bottom. Remember, the roundness of that tool is going to make a round cut. All right. So I'm going to take advantage of that. I'm going to use that to kind of round off that nose. And that'll help me start getting that round shape on the nose. Sorry if I'm out of the camera there. I was holding it up here. I'm sorry. All right. Now we're going to take the same tool and we're going to come over here to the side. Right at the end of that, we're going to push up. Just like that. And then come over to the side and clear those chips out. All right. Let's do the same on this side. Right about here. I'm going to push up. Up in our stop cut there, and we'll try to take some wood out there. by the corner of the nose, just by pushing over like this with our gouge. Over here on this side, you can do it from this side, all right? And we're trying to get close to the corners here, all right? And then just scoop a little bit of wood out on both sides. Just like that, okay? Now, before I go any further with this, I'm going to want to clear some of this out. I want a little bit more room for these eyes. So I'm going to take my other gouge. You could use the same gouge for this too, by the way. I'm going to come across at the top here. And I'm just going to scoop some of this out all the way across and open that up just a little bit more. When I get to the bridge of the nose here, I'm just going to scoop straight across that too, trying to keep it clean. But I want a lot of room up here for the eyes. So I'm going to clean that out just a little bit more. All right. And make sure we have plenty of room. I'm also going to take this piece right here and start pushing that back a little bit. Just like that. Stop cut. Push that back up into that stop cut, so we can get that out of our way and we can start figuring out what we want to do with that. Eventually, we can always keep going up higher and higher if we don't have enough room, all right? Like right here, I want to, again, hollow this out pretty good. Make sure that I have room in the corners where it's a little bit deeper to straighten all of this out, okay? Because the basic idea here is to have kind of a cylinder coming straight down the nose. This part right here. Here. And here. All right. And then we'll put the wings of the nose. Like that. So the middle part, we want kind of a cylinder. So that's what we're going to try and gouge out here with our little gouge. All right. And we're just trying to take little cuts. All right. So we can get that shape that we're looking for. Okay, now we can go back here and we can cut the wings of that nose out. So I'm going back to the gouge that I was using here. And I'm going to invert it, turn it over. All right. And at an angle, I'm not going straight in. I'm going at an angle, all right? And where I drew that little wing of the nose there, I'm going to push, giving it a turn, and making sure at the bottom I dig it in pretty good, okay? And I'm going to cut the wing of that nose in. And I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to pop that chip out just like that, all right? Now, we have some marker there. Don't worry about it. We can always just shave that off with our knife. Set that in pretty good. We're going to try and do the same on this side, and we're going to try and keep it fairly symmetrical. So, again, we're pushing it in. I can hear my dog barking inside. At an angle. Trying to keep them even, all right? And then we'll come over here to the side, and we'll just pop a little bit of that out, all right? And if you have to cut a little deeper after that, you cut a little deeper. But you see how it starts shaping that nose now, all right? And we can clean those marker lines off with our knife, all right? But at least we have the wings of our nose set in there now, all right? And pretty much the gouge did most of the work for us. This right here, if it's not cut in enough, I might want to set that in a little bit more, all right? Once I know where I have it, and I'll come over here and do the same thing. Now that that's in, I'll set it in with a nice deep cut. I'll push it in hard, and that'll set that nose in. All right, now I'm going to take my knife, come over here, push it in, and cut down just a little bit at an angle like that. And right around where that cut is we made with our gouge, this line right here, I'm going to go from there to here. And we're going to remove that chip, just like that, okay? And that'll start showing the nostril on the side. Let's do the same over here. Come over here, push in, pull down just a little bit. Make sure that that nose is cut in. If you have to push your knife in there, and make sure that that's definitely cut in, all right? And again, from there to there, just take that little chip out, right up to where this cut was made with your gouge, right? And take that wood out. If you pushed in with your gouge enough, that should be set in there pretty good, okay? And that's just all a matter of cleaning all that up then with your detail knife, or you're shaving your marker lines off. And trying to make everything round over nice, okay? But your nose should be cut in after that. And you're ready to move on. We can clean all this up as we go. Like I said, with more gouges, you could take the tip of your knife and cut underneath and get some of the chips out. Clean your marker line off. And blend everything together with that, okay? That's all we're doing there. All right, let's move on and start cutting the sides of this face in.